Welcome back to the Lyndon Miller Room here at the AAC on the campus of Morehead State University, the Morehead State Eagle Sports Network Coaches Show. Our second guest of the first show this year is Jaime Gordon, the volleyball coach. First of all, congratulations again, a great season last year. I know you want to put it behind you soon, but winning that OVC championship and getting to the NCAA tournament took a lot of hard work and effort by all the girls, past and present.
Well, thanks, Jason. It was a great season. I think our team had worked really hard to accomplish those goals, and I think one of the things that actually I'm very proud of with this group is that at the end of the academic year, we also what we called our triple crown. We finished with the regular season title, the tournament title, and then we won the academic title, the OVC Academic Achievement Award for the top academic performing volleyball program in the OVC. So that was special, and that's the fifth consecutive year that we've done that, and that's another testament to their hard work.
Yeah, they don't only work hard on the court, but people don't realize how hard it may be sometimes to pick up the books, take them on the road, be studying in a hotel room, be studying on the bus coming home, and your young ladies prove that you can really be student athletes.
Yeah, it's a testament to the character of the individuals that we have in our program and through the recruiting process, and they just excel in all areas of their lives. So now we're trying to get that going this season, and pick up where we've maybe dropped a couple opportunities so far, but I think we've got some momentum building, and definitely an opportunity this week and weekend to kind of take the next step.
Well, we always kid you about you if you would just schedule some people that we might get some notoriety, but you take a look at your schedule thus far. I mean, Penn State is probably the hottest program in the last 10 years in the NCAA. You open with them, Louisville, Western Kentucky, and then Xavier. It may be the hardest first four games that we've played in a while, or since you've been here. I don't know, because you usually open
I think you're right on that, Jason. The talent that we faced the opening weekend, all three of those teams were picked to win their conference in the Sun Belt, Big Ten, and Big East. And now we also line that up with this Friday against Missouri, newcomer to the SEC, but definitely another very strong and physical team. But that's what we want to do. We want to kind of put ourselves out there against the best out that volleyball has to offer, and see what what weaknesses we have. It definitely exposes us in a couple areas, and then allows us to get into the gym and work on those things so that we can be prepared for a very competitive OVC slate.
Yeah, the old saying is not how you start, it's how you finish. And I think over the years that your hard schedule and the teams that you've played, even a couple years ago, Michigan coming in here and helped your young ladies when the OVC season started, because two matches, three matches the last 2 years that you've dropped in the OVC, so it has to be working somewhere.
Yeah, it does, because I think that the way that our pre-conference schedule is always laid out is that we don't have any breaks. There's no kind of easy ones that you say, okay, we can kind of relax here. We want to get into that habit of match in, match out, really having some high-level tests, and because that's the type of kind of rhythm and the type of approach that you want to have going into conference play, because on any given night anybody can beat anybody in the OVC, and especially when you're going on the road and going to some difficult gyms and some hostile environments, you want to have that kind of grittiness and a little bit of that seasoning going into that, and I think it's proven some success for us over the last couple of years, and hopefully we can kind of roll that into the same type of play.
What I've noticed the last few years, and it's probably been here since you've been here, and I guess we're both getting a little bit long in the tooth, is the fact that Weatherby has become maybe the worst place for opponents in the Ohio Valley Conference. And you always talk about in football the 12th man or whatever. It's a hostile but fair environment to the people who come in.
Yeah, we've got a tremendous fan base that are very loyal, very energetic, very loud, so it makes it a tough place to play. Our facility is kind of unique. It's got definitely some character to it, and we had a great crowd at home against Xavier for our home opener. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get enough momentum going to give our fans a whole lot to cheer about, but we're looking forward to another big one on Friday night against Missouri. Really counting on a big crowd to kind of help us and give us a shot at a very competitive foe.
Tell us a little bit about this year's team. Discuss. I mean, you've got multi-players coming back from last year's squad. Tell us a little bit about the makeup of this team.
You know, it's a good balance. I think we've got a lot of athleticism, a lot of experience. We've got 4 seniors: Ellie Robertson, Aaron Bohannon, Annie Grunschlager, who's just tabbed OVC Offensive Player of the Week this past week, and Caitlin Clark, who is an all-region setter for us. We have that, and along with a very good defensive core in Leslie Schellhoff and Lindsay Roth, who've really been doing a great job for us so far this year, and then sophomore returner Colby Cameron, who's getting some setting done for us, and also last year's freshman of the year, Laura McDermott. And kind of add into that a couple of freshmen that are doing a great job for us, Hannah Sagala, who's right now our most efficient attacker, and Courtney Smith that's been taking a good load for us on the outside so far.
We are here at the Eagle Sports Coaches Show for the first edition. Jaime Gordon is our guest. And, Coach, as you said, a tough schedule. Marshall coming up later today as we tape this on Tuesday. And then, of course, big weekend, as you said, Missouri, Valparaiso, and Savannah State coming in. And that'll be a pretty busy weekend for you.
Yeah, it is. Definitely the rivalry that always goes along with going up against Marshall is fun. It's been a great annual match that we've played, and now we get to travel to Huntington for this year's match. So they're a very talented squad that'll give us a good test.
What type of conference is Conference USA in volleyball?
Very good. They've got a good balance. They've had Tulsa that's been in the top 25 over the last couple of years. SMU that does a nice job. Rice that has a good program. So Marshall has always been very competitive and has won the conference in the past. So a very good volleyball conference. And so anytime we have an opportunity, plus Conference USA is also in our region as far as the NCAA is concerned. So it's also critical for us to have those matches against Conference USA and hopefully do well.
Well, as you mentioned, though, you got Penn State from the Big Ten, Louisville from the Big East, Western from the Sun Belt, and then Xavier from the A-10, and then you go on and on. It gives you, I think, a pretty nice barometer of how you stack up against the other leagues, or how different maybe the other leagues play.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's neat in those leagues that you were talking about, as far as the Big Ten and Big East, and even the Sun Belt and the A-10, Missouri Valley with Evansville, all of those conferences are multi-bid conferences. So it's not just that one team that wins a tournament goes on. You've got a lot of competitiveness and a lot of high level. So having the opportunity to step out against some of those teams is always a good, again, kind of barometer and test for us. And we're excited about what we've got coming up this weekend too.
Yeah, you got as we said, big three people coming in, and then of course you go to Greensboro, North Carolina, a tournament down there, and Youngstown State, Wilmington, and Greensboro. Probably is going to be a tough tournament for those Friday and Saturday, the 14th and 15th next weekend.
And another one, and kind of the nice piece about our schedule this year is between Louisville and Marshall. Those are the only places that we've had to travel very far, and getting the opportunity to host 2 tournaments. That'll be our first test of getting out and hitting the road a little bit further from home.
Of course, the OVC tournament, OVC regular season, and will begin on the 21st. And a new member, Belmont, will make its first appearance at Weatherby. Yep. So we want a huge crowd out the 21st just to welcome Belmont to the OVC.
Yeah, and Belmont's got a great volleyball tradition down there. They were actually selected by the coaches and media second to finish second in the conference. So that's a big matchup for us, and to open up the conference schedule with them at home will be a critical one.
Shows a little respect for that program as well, because you're talking about a first-year program here. They've been around forever, but it's the fact that the coaches gave him that much respect coming in. Sometimes you have to earn it.
Yeah.
So, but it's still nice to get them to come here first.
Well, Dean Webb, the head coach down at Belmont's been there for a long time. Has really had a lot of success with them in the ASUN and made several trips to the NCAA tournament. So, especially with them being in our region, a lot of our coaches are very familiar with that program and definitely have a well-deserved respect for what Belmont has done.
And of course, the streak that we've been on in the Ohio Valley Conference, I guess you want to push that a little further and hopefully be hosting another Ohio Valley Conference tournament come November.
Yeah, that's important if you have that opportunity to get to host and play in front of your own fans and sleep in your own bed. That's always an advantage. Our main goal going into conference play, first and foremost, is qualifying for the tournament. We want to make sure we're one of those spots that make it in and have a shot to compete for the tournament championship. And then, once we get to that point, hopefully then try and move our way up and hopefully, put ourselves in the last couple weeks in a position to maybe compete for that regular season championship.
Now, people's been seeing you on crutches lately, and we're not gonna go into the in-depth, how you got the injury, but it's not true that you just fell over a line at Weatherby Gym.
No. Unfortunately, I'm dealing with a little injury at a ruptured Achilles tendon, so it's a long recovery process. But it's given me a good perspective.
Has it calmed you down any?
I don't know if it's calmed me down, but I think sometimes as coaches we lose a little bit of the perspective of what our players go through when they're injured and when they're on the sidelines and some of their challenges. So, it's been a good learning experience for me there. It's forced me to change a little bit of the way that we approach coaching as far as practices. I can't quite get in there as much as I usually like to. But I've kind of taken it, the movie The Green Mile, where he takes in all that injury, so that's going to try and be my role this year. I'm going to take in all the potential injuries that our players have just carried in that foot, and hopefully we can stay healthy as far as the players are concerned.
So I'll bring this all screeching hot right now. Michael Clark Duncan died yesterday.
Yes.
So your Green Mile guy
I know. So I'm taking it all right here.
Okay, take it right there.
It's all right here.
But we want to remind everyone that Morehead State will be hosting Savannah State, Missouri, and Valparaiso this weekend. Besides your games, they'll be playing each other too. So
yeah, there'll be some great, even just for volleyball fans. Period. There'll be some great matches being played. Missouri and Valpo should be a fantastic match. Valpo always a very strong team up in the horizon. So we'll look forward to some good volleyball in Weatherby.
So 11 o'clock on Friday morning, Savannah State, and then the big match against Missouri at 7 o'clock on Friday, and Valparaiso at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Just calling. I'm kind of sick for work Friday. Come on, sneak on over and see some volleyball all day long, and I know you'll welcome it to Weatherby.
Absolutely, and I think that's a great idea. A lot of people had off on Monday.
Ooh, make it a 3-day work week.
The only thing that's better than a 4-day work week is a 3-day work week. So, do that, make another extended weekend, and, join us in Weatherby.
All right. Appreciate it, Jamie. We'll have you on many more times. Jamie
Thanks,
Gordon,
Jason.
volleyball coach here at Morehead State University. We'll come back with more. This is the Eagle Sports Coaches Show.